Hey folks, welcome back to another live stream at Global Hack Week season launch. Uh, I just want to make sure that I'm clearly audible and visible. And super sorry in advance if you get to have any background sound. Just a second. Okay, I'm back. I'll just need a hi, okay in the chat to know that okay, I'm clearly audible and visible. I can see folks hopping in, so we'll just wait for folks to hop in. But today's session will be all about uh, like we will be discussing what are the best practices for GitHub when you are working at hackathons. Okay, hey Nisark, and for just for sake, Nisark has if it's the same Nisark has been nominated as one of the top 50 at our MLS top 50 every season. So a huge congratulations to Nisar if you're the same person. A huge congratulations. Hey Shimar, hello. I hope my the name of my spelling can be better. It's Vinayak, Vinayak. People at MLH call me Vinayak, but yep, you can find that. Okay. So by the way, I feel you folks can hear me. So if I talk about today, we'll be discussing all the things about how GitHub can actually help you to excel at hackathons. We will be discussing on journal practices too, but this will be more of a beginner-centric stream. We'll be discussing some Git commands. I'll help you folks install GitHub on your system, Git, and like working with GitHub. So this stream will be all about that. Till the time, just let me know how things are going for you, how has been like it's just the start of the weekend if you're working. Otherwise, it's like a small break from school. So, how things are going for you? And just to start with, I had a good blood test today. Like, you folks should also get a check too, because we usually used to forget that, okay, our body is working fine, but regular blood test can actually help you to do better. So, so the best thing now, I'll just share my screen. Just a second. Let me get a good background till then. Okay, this sounds good. Okay, so today, for all the people who are like new to the stream, hey folks, I can see a lot of folks hopping in. So to start with, we are today going to talk around GitHub tips and tricks for hackathons. This will be an amazing. Yep. Yep, for all the folks who are in the chat, I hope you have already visited all the top 50, and Nisarg is one of our top 50 for this year. So, a huge congratulations to Nisarg. I was reading your stories and all the other MLS top 50 stories, and have been like felt so good that the main intention for everyone is to like the support the community and actually move ahead. So, a big congratulations to you, Nisarg, and yep, I guess we'll definitely sometime talk over stream or off stream how things can be so that other hackers can also prepare in that way too. We also have an activity planned today, so let's see how we can also display that. But once again, congratulations, Nizar. And for the people who don't know, MLH every year introduces a class of top 50. It's basically the top 50 hackers who have been very active in the hacker community. They are participating in hackathons, they are helping their other peers. And for Nisarg, I can definitely say that because during our FPHs and even there was a clear connect of Nisarg with all the other people. So he was always there to help other people in this hacker community and a well deserved spot for him. Just a second. Okay, I'm back. I've just shifted to a new place, so a lot of things are going around. So to start with, today we are working around GitHub tips and tricks. Okay, so start with, hey folks, if you're wondering who am I am Vinayak. I am a coach at Major League Hacking. If I talk about something about me, I'm a cricket, chess, Sudoku freak. So you can say a person who loves both indoor and outdoor sports a lot. And yep, that will be a short introduction about me. And apparently, today I have completed a year at MLH. Exactly 1 year back, I was selected as a coach at Major League Hacking. So, yep, it's been a good journey. And yep, we can move ahead to discuss what we will be. Okay, so to start with, what's the plan for today? We are going to discuss what is GitHub. If you aren't aware about what is GitHub, we are going to discuss that. We are going to discuss around some basic GitHub concepts. It's more like how to create repositories, how to create branches, what is commit, what is pull, push, and everything. We are going to discuss around. Then, yep, essential GitHub commands. I'll also help you folks download Gits on your systems so that you get to, like, we won't work more around Git because I know this is a beginner friendly stream. So we'll focus on that, how you can create repositories, how you can add files through Git commands and also through the GitHub directly. Then we'll be working on best practices for GitHub collaboration, and then we have a certain short activity which has been planned for you folks. So this will be like a total agenda for today. So to start with, what's GitHub? Like, what's your definition for GitHub? Anyone in the chat can just let me know what is your GitHub definition for GitHub. Like when you hear GitHub, what is the first thing you do? So till the people you folks are writing, I'll just tell. If I ever heard the word GitHub, my first thing which comes to my mind is collaboration. Yep, open source. Yep, it's a very good time. No, open source has taken a very good leap in our community, and GitHub has been prominently one of the main, you can say, a path which actually helping people to enjoy their journey. So yeah, open source. Anyone else, like, what is the first thing you hear about when you hear GitHub? So for me, it's collaboration. For Shimar, it's open source. Then we'll definitely we can see the definition which is available on the stream, that GitHub is a web-based platform that serves as a central hub for version control and collaboration in software development projects. We'll divide this words of what is version control, what is the software development projects. So if I tell about my definition of what GitHub is, GitHub is a location where you host your code, where you and your peers who are working on a same project can work at a similar point of time. Apart from that, it helps you with version control. Now, what's a version control? So, for example, I'm a person who is an Angular developer, right? So I work around, yep, as Nisar says, like version control to collaborate, host project. Yep. So, yep, I was talking about version control. So when we talk about version control, it's more like I'm a person who's working in Angular, right? So by time to time, there is always an advancement in Angular, right? So when I started, it was Angular 12 at that time, and now it's already Angular 16 or Angular 18. I need to check. So when you code, with every version change, there are certain commands change, or it can be enhancements in the coding of that particular tech stack. So when you work at GitHub, there is a proper version control, or you can say a proper version check. It helps you to check. Hey Krish, welcome to the stream. It helps you to check that, okay, at that particular point of time, you have worked at that particular version. That is the code which is available on GitHub, and you can check. And as I've said, it allows developers to store, manage, track changes to their code base over time, ensuring a reliable history of revisions. So the best part I also like about GitHub is I was like working on this stream and I get to know about, like, I was checking my other repositories which can I can actually take up and show you guys how things works in this. So I just went to check one of my projects which I made last year, that was a Chrome extension. And I checked that, okay, I have made it in this day, I have used this languages, this is the percentage. So these are the things which actually helps you to, okay, tells you that, okay, you have worked on these languages. Now it's the time if you want to update, what are the things. So this is how GitHub is actually planned. A few more things which I actually wanted to mention about GitHub is, just a second. I guess one more thing which I guess Shimar raised a point is open source, because GitHub has actually played a transformative role in open source projects, because it basically has become a platform for hosting, sharing open source projects. You can definitely see a lot of people on Twitter or any other tech platform, uh, like tech Twitter or any other platform, when they talk about projects. Majorly, the communication is around open source projects, because open source projects are basically where other people can also contribute to the project, right? So for example, just to give a normal description of what open source is, open source is more like, for example, I have made an XYZ project. I have made that open source for other people to understand that project, and if they find any type of issues, they can actually raise a request to tell, okay, you can add this thing, or the things which actually promotes people to code more. So yep, open source, if I simply put it in that way. And if I talk about like features such as pull request, issue tracking, and this process of streamlined process of contributing to open source is actually making it easier for people to get involved. You can see on like YouTube tons of video that how you can contribute to open source, and you can definitely go and check it out. I will be definitely sharing certain resources at the end of the stream, but at this stream we'll be more focusing around GitHub and its command. So how GitHub works, so let's try to dive into GitHub. We'll be creating repositories, branches, commit, pull request, and all the other things. Just a second. Okay, so actually before moving to GitHub, let me let you folks install Gits on your system. Just a second. Download. I was just checking on the link. Okay. So if you folks haven't downloaded Git on your system, I'm sharing a link in the chat. This is for Windows. Just click on this link and okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so why Git? Like anyone from the chat, if Nisarg is there or Krish is there, you can just let me know why Git. Hey boom, hacker boom. Oh, that's a unique name though. But just let me know anyone from the chat that why Git over, like we did have right GitHub to do all the things. Then why Git was there? Git has been made. Okay, version control system. Okay, David. Hey David, track changes in the files and coordinate work among multiple people working on the project. Lakshya, Git is to store commits and versions on local system. Yes, if you can clearly, I guess Lakshya has put a good statement, and even David and Redok too. Git everything is local. That is why it has, because okay, Shimari, yep, distributed versions. Every Git was actually made to ensure that everything is available locally on your systems, right? So I guess everyone is aware about Git clone. So I'll just work on that. But before that, I'm going to give for all the people a certain amount of time if you want to install Git on your system, because we'll be working on simple commands such as git clone, git add. If you want to make a repository, branching capabilities. Oh, hey Sohel, welcome to the stream. Can be, yep, it's a good option too. Good answer to branching capabilities. One more thing, folks, if you want to download, I've shared a link in the chat. And if you are an Mac or an Linux user, make sure if you are a Mac, I'm sharing a command in the chat. You can just write this in your command line interface, and this is for Mac. And if you are an individual who is using Linux, you should be good to download this. Let me write Linux. Yep, you do need to install Brew for Mac, but I feel for a lot of people it's already there. I need to know because someone told me that Brew is available on Mac systems. That's why. See, we already have an amazing hacker. If someone has any problem in Mac, I can help. Yeah, I guess you need to jump in because I am a super window user. So if you have any uses like problem in Windows, I'll be there to help. Yep. For Linux, you need to just write sudo apt-get gen install git. So I'll be just waiting for 2 minutes. It won't take much of a time for you folks to just download Git. I know maximum of you might feel okay, we have already done this, but it's more like it's for individuals who have never ever worked with Git or GitHub. So make sure You go and install Git for all the folks who have joined in. Hey Sohail, it's good to see you on stream. So if you're an individual who has never worked around Git, I have shared certain links and commands in the chat to get it run on your system. Till the time, I'll be just sharing my switching my screen to GitHub for you folks. If someone doesn't have an account, you can just go to github.com and make a new account for yourself. I'm very sure that all the people who are in the chat are well aware of what GitHub is. And if you are not, you just need to go to github.com, uh, log in from your Google or any other link which you want to work around. Yep, that should be good to go. Just a second. And also, if you want to check on that, okay, which version of Git I'm using, you can anyways write this command of Git version. You can write in this your CMD, like your command line interface. Till the time, for all the folks who haven't made an account, this will be a short, quick tutorial on how you can make an account on GitHub. Uh, I hope I am not lagging. Just a second. Okay, things looks good. I feel okay. So if you're making an account, just log in from your Google or any other account. This type of page should open. Not this type of profile will be made. You need to work on your profile, readme to work it around, and then you can go to repositories. I have, like, this is my secondary account, so you can check of all the work I have made it here. So if you want to make a new repository, what you need to do is you just need to click new here. So I'll write GitHub, GitHub for hackathons, GitHub for hack. So I'll make it public. I'll add a README file to this. Yep, as simple as creating a repository at GitHub. So if you ask me what is a repository, repository is a location which consists and takes up all of your code. Like you want to write codes in different languages, these repositories will take up consist of all the codes which should be available for your project. README is a file which gives an interface for the whole repository. So for example, if your project, if you want to make sure that your project is open source and you want other people to get to know more about it, you should write a readme for same, and in that way people can just go to readme and check out what you have made in project. The next thing we are going to discuss is, I hope people have downloaded Git on their system. I just need to get a check before we actually move to Git commands. We have tons of Git commands which will be working, or I will be not working on majorly, like the different Git commands will be working on creating repositories. Then we'll be discussing on how it can be good for discussing, like for hackathons, how it can be good. So I'll be just waiting for a minute or so for let folks understand and download Git so that we can move away from slides. Any swag drop today? Okay, let me get a quick check if we can do that. Just a second. If someone has said, why not to do it? Just a second. I have dropped a text. I hope it's already Saturday. Someone will be available. They might be answering. But yep. I hope Git is installed. I'll just open my command prompt. I need to share this. Just a second. Hey, my super. Welcome to the stream. Okay, we did get a good message. We'll be having an activity for folks who will be participating in that activity will be eligible for a swag drop, but that will do like in the next 15 or 20 minutes after that. Currently, our main work will be to now work around Git commands. So let me just share my screen. Share. Let me add this to the stream. Okay, so this is how your Git. Just a second. Just a second, folks. Okay, so this is basically if you have installed Git in your systems, this is how things look up. So what we have did is, if you remember, we created an repository GitHub for hack, right? Now, if I want to have that same repository on my system, uh, do you have an idea about DevOps engineer? Not because I do know what DevOps engineer do, but I am not directly connected to DevOps engineer because I haven't contributed directly in that domain. So I might not be a good person to answer this question though. But I'll take up this question. Uh, okay, so we did create a like repository named as GitHub for Hack. So we did discuss that when we were installing Git. Everyone was saying, I asked everyone that what do you think about Git. So I guess someone did mention in the chat, Git is to store commits and versions on the local system. So these repositories are basically on github.com, right? And if you want to have that same repositories on your system, so what I'm gonna write, I'm just gonna write git. So what you first, you need to go to desktop. Just just a second. So I want to go on my desktop, so I'll use the command cd and the path. Now I am on my desktop, right? Now I want that GitHub for hack file should be available locally on my system, right? So I'll write git clone, and we have copied. Okay, we have copied a link. Let me share that too. Okay, so we'll share the screen. So in GitHub, I hope my screen is visible. Okay, so in GitHub, you do find this HTTPS key, right? This one. So you need to just copy this, and in your command system, I need to present my screen now totally because okay. So git clone, and I'll just paste it here. So it has cloned GitHub for hack file on my system locally. Now, what this locally means is you can just open the same file on your favorite code editor. It can be VS Code or Notepad, wherever you code, and you can make edits to to the system. Now, we do have certain more commands which are actually responsible in Git. So I'll just name those few commands we'll be also working on out. If you want to create, so for cloning a repository, you'll also always use git clone and then the link of that particular repository. So what it will do, it will actually create like a similar file or locally on your system. The next thing is for creating and switching branches, you need to use the command of git branch and then the name of like the branch if you want to create a new branch. And if you want to do the same through GitHub, just a second, share screen. Okay, so this is the way, right? So this is branch. Okay, can anyone tell me why branches are there? Anyone in the chat, if they can tell me why branches are there? We do have repositories, right? We can directly write code and do work. So why there is like branches? Why branches are available? Oh, I love this. Git is a version control system, and GitHub is a services that use Git. Very good, David. Yep. So many people can work on the same project at different instance. So our main topic was GitHub around hackathons, right? So in a hackathon, we do work around three different things. That is, we work around our front end, back end, and it can be then other components which are responsible for making our project work amazingly well during the time of GitHub. So you are working differently, right? And you're pushing your code to GitHub. With the help of branches, different people can work on the same project on different instances, as said by David. So it will make sure that your project will run smoothly. And at the end, you just need to use a command git merge to actually merge that branch particularly. So we are in creating and switching branches. So if you want to create a branch, just write git branch and git branch and the like name of the new branch. A branch new branch will be created. If you want to do that manually, if you want to like be away from this project. Okay, we certainly had some questions. Let me check. I'm not able to see the questions. I don't know why. Hmm. Let me check. I'm unable to see questions. Okay. What is the difference between GitHub and GitLab? If I talk about major differences between GitHub and GitLab, it's like it more like GitHub has a higher availability and it's more focused on infrastructure performance. And if you talk about GitLab, it will be more focused on offering feature-based systems, which are centralized and a single community having a control over all the things. So, for example, at GitHub, when you make it open source, a lot of people will be able to contribute at it. In GitLab, it will be centralized. A core, like a single person, will be handling all the files with all the people who are working underwise. So this is, I think, will be the main difference between Git and GitLab. Then, thanks, David. For Mac users, you first have to set up an SSH key. Thanks for that. I guess I missed that. I want to contribute to open source. I haven't till now. I have knowledge about React JS. Can we get connected? We do get connected, David. And if someone has a similar question related to contributing to open source, like if I tell you about my first contribution, it was Hacktoberfest. Like at Hacktoberfest, you will get tons of project and tons of open source organizations who will be putting up their project so that you can contribute to it. The best way to contribute to open source is actually to have a communication to, it can be maintainers of a particular repository. So for example, I am making a project which is similar to a railway website, right? And you're a person, I have made it open source so that all the people can actually generate like request if they want to make any code changes. So if I accept those requests into my system, which we call pull request, they'll be part of that system. So this is how open sources actually starts. If you do want to get a check, I guess there are certainly good videos which are available on platforms like YouTube, which will directly help you tell how you can contribute to open source. And just for instance, Hacktoberfest this time has participated, has is working with Major League Hacking during the Hacktoberfest season. We are working with them. So at that time, we'll be working a lot on how you can actually contribute to open source project in that global hack week. Yep, you can always drop me a DM on Twitter and we can discuss more on it. Uh, Let me check if we have any more questions. Hello, MLS community members and our attendants. How are you today? What's the session plan? What? Hey, Tintin, today's session plan is more like how we can use GitHub for hackathons, how we can actually enhance the GitHub usage and make our hackathon better with the help of GitHub. Currently, I'm working on basic commands, how you can create a repository, how you can create a new branch, what are the similar terms. I know these terms might be very easy for a lot of people because you have worked, but this stream is basically more on people who haven't ever worked with Git and GitHub. So we'll be more focusing soon on like on the place that then we'll be discussing how GitHub actually enhances your productivity during hackathons. So yeah, I guess I covered that. Hello, this community. Okay. What is the project that we are going to build in this workshop stream? Okay, in this workshop stream, we'll be working around. I will be giving you an activity at the end, which will be more like you need to create uh, a GitHub repository, and I'll give you certain files and things to add upon, and we'll be doing that. So, for example, I'll be making a repository. I'll be asking you folks to fork it and add files, pull requests to make to that, and we'll be selecting someone from that for a good swag drop. Like that will be totally random. Yep, to maintain different versions of any code at a particular instance. Okay, I'll just check for another questions, then we'll move. Okay, how to make an impactful GitHub repository to impress judges in hackathons? Trophy. Okay, that's an emoji. Uh, Two things which I'll definitely say is going to help you if you want to impress judges. It has to be a clean way of like naming convention of repository. Importantly, reason is if you create a repository, your file should be named in such a way that if someone sees your project, they'll be able to understand. Okay, yes, this is probably a HTML file. This is a CSS file. The naming convention in such a way that okay, it's easy to understand. The next important thing is, which I feel is the branch commit history. Like we do write certain bad commands, right? So if someone goes and have a check on your system that what are the commands you have made run to work on this repository, then in that case they can make sure that okay, if that's clean, that is going to help you in hackathons. Majorly in hackathons, judges don't get a lot of time to check on your projects like your GitHub repositories, because their first insurement is to make sure that they see how a project is working clearly. The next thing is they check on the code. So the best thing would be to write code in a way that using commands so that they can understand. And these are the things which will definitely help you at this like hackathons. Next is what is operating system that you're using for this workshop project demo. If you're asking, like we are using Git, if I'm understanding the question correct. Yep, Tintin. Okay, yep, we are using Git. We are using Git Bash. You can use Git Bash. You can also use command line interface to run certain commands on your system. Like I've made sure that people install Git. I am working on CMD because I'm certain comfortably with that, and that is how. And also, I'm making sure that people also get to know more if they want to create a branch through. Yep, I'll be sharing all the links for GitHub and resources link at the like 10 minutes before the stream is going to end so that you can check it out all. The video which I saw first to clearly understand Git and GitHub. So I'll be making sure I'll share all the resources with the slides too. So to come back to where we left, we were actually discussing on like how do we create a new branch. So you just create a new branch. You can just write back and create a new branch. So once your new branch is created, you just can click on that. Now you are in the backend branch. Now you can add a new repository. Just a second. You can so you can do certain things. If you have any certain coded files already available on the system, you can definitely use the command git add file name in your command line interface. Just write git add. I'm just writing an example file.txt. You just need to do one thing, just copy the path of your file which you want to actually add into the system, and a file will be added here. Apart from that, you can check that this is backend. You can go to main, and you can see now you can certainly click here. You can see commit. See, these are the changes which you have actually made it to this. The next thing which we are going to discuss is what is a commit. So commit is basically a changes which you are actually making to your project. So any change, it can be change in the readme file, it can be changes in the code. It is basically a commit. So for example, let me tell. So let me open the readme result. So if I open this readme and I'll make certain changes for this. So I'll just write hello, welcome to the stream. So I'll just do commit changes, commit directly to the main branch. It will ask you, yep, you have made a commit. So commit is basically the changes you will be making to your GitHub repositories. What are the frequently used GitHub action commands, lines, instructions? If I talk about the basic GitHub commands which are being used more, to start with, it has to be git clone. The next has to be git for creating branches, git branch. Then you have, if you want to commit changes, If you want to add files, if you want to like particularly write a command, you can write git add, which we discussed. If you want to push changes, git push. And the major which I have seen is git checkout, to check out which, if you want to switch between branches. So these are the certain uh, commands which have been used more. Okay, so we are like, if you actually make any type of changes to your GitHub, it will tell you, okay, so you have made a change. So I can definitely switch to my like branch if I want to make to backend and then main. And if I want to merge this, I'll just use the command git merge in our git bash or command line interface to do same. Just want to do one thing, just a second. So if you want to add, create new file, just create new file. You can write and enter the code here. If you want to put it in backend, if you want to put in main. For example, just a second. Let me pull up any of the code which I have written back. Okay, it's better that I explain you within repository. I hope if you are clearly clear how to create a repository, how to change any type of branches, and all the other things. So I'll just go to one of my repositories. Just a second. Okay. So I was working on this Chrome extension last year. So if you can clearly see, if I want to add a file, I have I haven't worked on backend on this project, so I've just made a certain branch. If you want to add, you can just click on this. Okay, a very quick question, if anyone knows, if I want to copy, see, I am the owner of this project, right? Vinayak 27 Raw Chrome extension. Can anyone else make any change or commit to this? Anyone? Although the answer is already in the chat, but anyone, till the time I'm just making. I guess Anyudan has already. You can do another thing. Yep, I'll have to give permission if you want to change, but there is a better way in which you can make a change, is by doing a fork. They can fork it and make changes and can request a pull request. Yep, you can do it. So in GitHub, you have an option of fork. If you fork this repository, it will actually, what it will do, right? So I'll just, let me tell you an example. So I'll go to repository which I've forked once. So this is an appright readme file, I feel, right? So if I want to fork it, I'll just fork it. What it will do is it will create. Uh, See, I have already repository already exists because I have done that. So when you do this forking, what will happen is it will create a repository in your system by the name of Vinayak27 raw slash appright. It will do it in that way. Yep. People are saying we have to fork it, fork it, fork it. Yep. We do need to fork it in that a way which we can actually have that on our system. Okay, we do have another question. What is the difference between Bash and Shell consoles? When to use one? Thanks, regards. If I talk about Shell, so Shell is, as we know, is basically a CLI. It's more like it provides an interface for users to interact directly with the operating system. So if I talk about when to use basically you need to use. We usually use Git Bash more if you want to work around commands. But when I talk about shell, it can be also for basic commands too. uh, and in if I tell in a summary that shell refers to a border concept for command line interface or program that allows the users to interact with operating systems, while bash specifically refers to one of the most common and widely used shells. So you basically understand the concept of sets, right? So bash is inside shell, basically. Both do have, like, it, you can say, certain features of their own, but this is the basic difference. I guess people are already. Yeah, another one, we can't be just clone it then make a PR and push. Yep, you can also do the same. You need to just write the command of git clone on your system, use a repository, make the required changes and push. Yep, you can do that too. That will be done locally on your system again. And if you want to do it over GitHub, you can always use the command such as fork. So this was all about fork. Okay, the next thing which I wanted to share is, just give me a minute. Okay. So before we actually move on to our activity, okay, let me share. Stop sharing the screen. I hope folks you are clearly like comfortable with how to create a repository. If you want to clone it in your system, we have discussed on the basic Git commands. We have practiced that. Then we have also seen how you can check, how you can create branches. What are branches? We did talk about. Oh, Nizar, thanks for answering that. I was about to. Yarn and npm are both package managers. Yarn is faster than npm as it supports parallel operations. Question was, what is the difference between yarn and npm? Basically, if I tell about myself, I use npm a lot, but yep, yarn is faster because it supports parallel operations, but it's more about which practice. We do have a question: can we set up GitHub repository folder parameters? I am not aware of, like, I'm not trying getting your questions. Can we set up the GitHub repository folder parameters? Like if you talk about the in files, yep, we can set up what the files will which will be available on GitHub. We can just usually use the command of git add if you are doing it locally on our systems. If you want to do it in the GitHub like web interface, you have a directly option if you want to add or create a new file. Okay, I'll just share my screen. Actually, we have discussed all the basic commands. I just want to let you folks know. Just a second. Let me share my screen. I'll take up the questions at the last, I feel, because we are losing the momentum of what we actually want to do. Uh, the main agenda of this stream was actually to let folks know, uh, like what actually helps hackathons get. Like I guess someone also asked that what are the best practices for hackathons. So you need to write clear commit messages. Why clear commit messages? Because it when you're working in a team, okay, people will be able to understand these are the basic, sorry, these are the basic messages which you have put and easy to understand. But when any judge or any mentor comes up to you to check your commit messages, they might get confused. To try to put up a clear commit messages, then branching naming conventions as we discussed. The most important thing is how you name your branches, different branches, as I said, back end, front end. If you want to put up your UI files in your repository, make sure you write the correct naming conventions. Why this? So that if a person even opens a repository after 2 or 3 years, he will be able to understand that okay, these are the things which I have made at that particular point of time. This is the front end file, this is the back end file, and this is the UI UX file. So this is how you work. Code reviews, again, don't try to put up large codes. You can always use the AI tools. So make sure that if you want to, so earlier I guess this is a clear example. We were used to write tons and tons of HTML code, right? Tons and tons of HTML code, but with time, with the AI tools and the commands which are available, that HTML code has reduced to zero. And we do use setups like React and Angular to write front end technologies because that is how it's become more reactive. So this is how you should need to work on your code reviews so that you do not spend more and more time on same, and you need to have a clean commit history. The next thing which I wanted to make sure, just a second folks, need to reply to this. Okay, I guess someone asked a question that difference between command update add and git pull. So if I talk about git add is used to stage specific changes for a files to commit, while git pull is used to fetch and merge remote changes in your local branch, right? So if I write git add, it will make like add a particular file to your system locally. And if I talk about git pull, it's used to fetch and merge remote changes into your local branch. And in git add, it prepares changes to for commit within your local repository. Git pull incorporates changes for remote repositories into your local repository. So it's more like git add files which are available on your system into the repository. When we talk about git pull, it can be like files which are not available in the repositories. So this can be a basic difference between git add and git pull. The next thing which we are gonna discuss. Okay, so another thing, advanced GitHub features. Make sure you write clear and concise. Mention the type of license. It can be the versions which you are clearly using. These all the things can be clearly mentioned in your README files. Again, use links whenever possible because this will help the you can ask the judges and the mentors to understand what are the areas or resources which you are actually using. It can be you might be using bootstrap 4 version. You clearly mention that, and when a judge or a mentor actually checks on your code, okay, these are the commands. Like for example, in bootstrap we do write call access 12, so it is specifically for bootstrap. With every advancement of bootstrap, that thing changes. As a hackathon did just till now, have you saw any GitHub repository that impressed you the most, and would you like to share about it? Uh, I guess this was during an FPH. I was working with our judges, and I did see a repository. What that team did is they wrote all the code over their system and they updated it here. The best thing which I mentioned was the naming convention, because I was checking on if the code has been copied from somewhere else, because the way it was beautifully written. And one more thing in that repository was the commands. And the next thing was the you can clearly see they've given an explanation why have they written a code, right? So usually in a book we see that, right? Two lines of commands are written, okay, why this code is written, which is written below. So that is the repository which has impressed me the most. And there was no extra code, more like try to just put up the things. They made a simple project. I guess they were a winner in a certain category. And yep, so this is something which I've seen. But usually in hackathons, you will see GitHub is something which helps internally between the teams to get better, because judges won't get a lot of time to check your GitHub repositories. That is the task of the people who are checking on the cheating check. So yep, that is the case. Next is okay. The next thing is, I guess we should move to the activity. Let me just work on the activity for GitHub. Okay, so what we will be doing is I will be making a repository. You guys have to fork it on your systems. You have to write git commands. You need to add files. You can add a README file, and from that we will be checking. Like we will be picking any one of you who will be actually putting up all the things which we have mentioned during this stream. It can be you can use directly create branches repositories from github.com, or you can use that right on your system. So just give me a minute. I'll push you to use git commands more. If you'll face any problem, I'll be here to help you folks. So let me stop sharing the screen. Hmm. Okay, so I'm creating a repository named as, okay, why to create a repo. This is the repository GitHub for hack. The task for you folks is to actually fork it, made certain changes. Okay, screen is not visible. Yep, we did create a repository named as GitHub for fork, GitHub for hack. Just fork it. I'll be just sharing the link in the chat. Give me a minute. Just forget, do certain git commands. I'll be checking on your commit history and what other things you have made. You can work on a simple readme. The readme should consist of what you do. And what do you think that how hackathons can be a better, like how GitHub is better for hackathons. Just add them, add the readme file, and we should be good to go. Okay, I have shared the link in the chat. You just need to go poke this, perform operations such as adding files, adding a README file, writing certain things using Git commands if you have already installed on your system, and we'll pick anyone from you, all the people who will be doing this activity, for an amazing swag drop. I'll be just taking a 5 minute break, and I'll be back. Till the time, I hope you folks uh, come, and I'll be taking up the questions once I'm back. Just 5 minutes, folks, and I've shared the link for the activity. And you just need to perform the operations which we have done in the stream. So, good to go. I'll be adding a music till then. Hey folks, I'm back. I'll be just okay. We did have a question which I think I should take. What are GitHub best practices, do's and don't to follow, avoid misconfiguration, common mistakes? Thanks, regards, MLH. Okay, so if I talk about like the do's firstly, so basically, so sorry, use meaningful and descriptive repositories name. The reason is, as I've stated earlier, it's important to understand what that repository particular means to do for you. Next is always and always add a readme file, because including a readme file in your repository to provide an overview, it will give clear instructions to the third person who will be actually checking out a repository, and it should contain all the necessary documentation about the project. The next thing is you should utilize branches at max. uh, okay, we do not have permission for pursuing the remote repo. uh, like you can are it like you are not able to access this, right? You are trying to say you should be able to do that. Let me share the link once again. I made it public though. I have made the repository public. Hmm, this shouldn't be the case. Otherwise, we will just shift the. Oh, I can see 9 folks. I feel people are able to fork it. Yep, I can see 9 folks. The task is I have shared a repository link, Mikey, and you need to do. Yep, the activity has started. What you need to do is actually to fork this GitHub repository in your system. Make the certain changes using commit history, add files, add a basic README file which actually tells about you. You can also clone it; it's upon you. Uh, just make sure that you do perform all the basic operations which we have actually discussed throughout the stream, and we'll be selecting someone for a good swag drop giveaway. Okay. Till the time I was discussing on do's and don'ts, till the time people are doing it. In do's, the next is actually regularly commit and push changes. In hackathons, it's very important to commit changes frequently rather than to push the whole code at a single time. So what happens is whenever we coaches or any other hackathon community do a checking of your projects, they make sure that you have regularly made the push, like regularly made changes. The reason is we also get a good sense of this thing that okay, this person has pushed the code directly, the whole code, so he might have copied it from somewhere, so that might create a negative image for you. The next thing is collaborate effectively. Always use the features in GitHub like issue tracking, assign tasks, and have a good communication with your team when you are using GitHub collaboration features so that everyone is on the same page. This should not be the case that your backend developer do not know what is happening in the front end. Use the proper use of branches, keep everyone in the loop so that it actually helps you during the staging time. And always try to secure your sensitive information. So when tell about security sensitive information, it is basically about the API keys. Sometimes we actually pay for API keys if you want to extract some data. If you will go to extract data from, you can say Web3 organizations for a certain amount of time, or any other organization, just not Web3, any other organization for a certain number of data, they do not charge you anything. But when the data quantity increases, you need to pay. So try to hide using like this type of data using the features which are available. If I talk about the don'ts, again the first thing is don't commit large binary files. Don't try to put up files all together at a single point of time. The thing which will happen is it will be more like creating a negative image. As I've said, it more like it will make judges and the team think that okay, you have copied code from somewhere. The next is do not commit unnecessary or temporary files. In our hackathons, let's try to make sure that we'll keep the files as simple and as low as we can. Just try to push files which are relevant to your uh, project. It can happen that there are certain files which are might be directly related to your project but do not serve a main purpose, right? So we should not push them. As simple as that. The next thing is don't ever skip documentation. The documentation or readme reviews are something which should always be available. The reason is it gives a clear interface of what you are trying to make throughout the project, and it's easy to understand for the third person at a single instance. Next thing is do not neglect code reviews. Make sure all the code changes go through a review process. Try to maintain a good quality, try to catch errors earlier, and encourage collaboration. The reason is you always need to push people like in your team to collaborate togetherly, because that will create an environment for a quick code review, which I am used to do at my hackathons. So for example, if I'm participating, I'll make sure that all the people are on the same page. If I'm putting up a code, all the people get to know that I have committed a certain code. A good code review will take place in the next certain time, and we make changes if anything is important. The next thing is avoid directly working on the main branch. When we work on branches, the main thing was, I guess someone also answered it, so that anyone, if they're working on different systems, can actually work togetherly, right? But before even like it should not happen the main branch. So try to create different branches, try to work upon that so that it should not neglect or try to damage the main branch. So these are the basic do's and don'ts which you should be checking out while using GitHub at hackathons. Okay, I'll just check how many folks are there. Mhm. I'm sorry, I've just caught up with a good nose infection, so I'm trying to. The next question: how can I push my fork to original code? I guess David answered that. Git push origin branch name. Yep, I guess this is the correct code. Git push origin. And if you want to, just let me check on the code. How can I push my fork to the original code? If I'm trying to understand your question clearly, hmm, 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 push my fork to the original code. I guess I'm not getting the questions. If you want to like, and if Divit has answered it, that's good. The next question is what is GitHub merge action? What its role and function when it is used? So if I talk about GitHub merge action, the merge action in GitHub is actually that allows you automatically merge pull request based on specific condition and events. And you can always use this action to streamline your workflow and automate the merging process. So if I can give you a code, just a second. And in GitHub merge, it makes sure that like you always include a YML file. And in GitHub merges, the best thing which I find is it helps you to merge certain repositories based on the certain set of uh, you can clearly say events or specific conditions. So this is basically what GitHub merges. Yep, so I'll be just checking on all the repositories. I am getting continuous mails. So I'll just be checking on all the folks which have been done till now. Three I can clearly see. Nine folks, 12 folks, and three people have committed it. Folks, I'll just give you the thing is we can clone, but we cannot push after making a branch. So we have to fetch first. See, the best thing is we can clone, but we cannot push after making a branch. The best thing is just fork it and try to commit changes in your system and then try to push. Okay. Uh, Let me check. Let me start checking. Folks, you will have just 5 more minutes if you want to make changes and be a part of the drop giveaway. And after that, we'll be just moving on because I guess the next stream is scheduled after this stream. I want to give you folks certain amount of time so that you folks get ready for that. Till the time, I'll just open it. Let me open all the required files. I'll be merging all the pull requests. Mhm. Okay, we have received it from three, four people. Yep, I'm waiting. Don't worry. I'm waiting for you folks. Oh, David is contributing for the first time. It clearly says first time contributor. I'm checking if we have made any changes. Oh, okay. I will just start sharing the screen for the people who have submitted. Mhm. Let me present. Stop sharing. Can I directly do it from here? Just a second. Hope that. Mhm. Okay, so we'll go on. So this is an commit which has been made by David. So I guess this I was able to see this is your first contribution, David, here, first time contributor. So congratulations for that. Yep, and he has made a change of adding a README, like a good README. GitHub is an excellent platform for several reasons. Okay, so yeah, when you are also contributing in open source, this is how things works. You just put up the files. You make sure you want to make a change in that particular application. The reviewer actually checks upon all the things, and what he do is, okay, he has made a single commit, adding a README. Now, the most important thing which I actually mentioned earlier too, how important it is to make sure that it's clear, right? So here it is clearly written adding README and how GitHub is better for hackathons. So this thing is clearly mentioned. So once this thing is mentioned, the reviewer will definitely know that what Divit is trying to like add to my systems. So what the next thing the reviewer will do is merge the pull request. It will ask me if I want to confirm a merge, if I want to leave a comment, and I'll commit the merge. So now Divit has already merged his first. I hope it's your first commit merged ever because it was saying first time contributor into my uh, repository which I have made. The next thing is for Sohil. Just not able to find that in my. Just a second. Hmm, okay. Till the time we do have the next from. I'm just not able to see the name. Just check for whom it is for. The next then I'll move for. Oh, this is the same person. Okay, what is the change he has made? Hello, welcome to the stream. Today's end is what is Git, downloading Git. What is Git? Amazing. Good work. I'm just not able to get your name. Who has this account? So, okay, I'm Chaw. I hope you are in the stream, Chaw. Oh, Chaw Chaw. I got him. I got him. Good changes you have made. You're also first time contributor. Welcome to the stream. Read me files. The next time we'll make sure we'll work on a code and I'll be merging your code request on the project which I've made earlier. Okay. Two reviews have been merged till now. Next is I'll be checking on for Sohail just a second. I've got it for Nisar. I have got it from Sohail now. Another one. Hmm. Okay. Next we have for uh, let me open all the links first and then we should be good to go. We'll check all of them. Oh, a lot and a lot of submissions. Hmm. Okay, let me now start sharing my screen. I also created a branch lol in my fork repo. Nice. Okay, let's start with Shikha's. Okay, so Shikha has made a change, file change. Okay, you have made three different commits. Let me check on those commit. Added a quick GitHub history, merge. Okay, you have made a single change in the files. Welcome to the stream. GitHub was founded in 2008. You can always review the changes. You can always leave a comment. If I leave a comment, uh, hey Shikha, more content can be added here, right? So I'll just submit review. So this thing will be like visible to Shikha, and once she makes the makes the required changes, you can resolve the conflicts. What is the conflict? Just a second. And you will be able to like add this version too. Let me check. This branch has conflicts that must be resolved. Okay, I hope this issue is from your side. You reviewed changes. Okay. Hmm, this is good to go. Oh, my screen was not visible this entire time, so sorry. Three commits, one conversation. I guess there is certain issue. Uh, there is a reason why I'm not able to uh, like add this, but let's move on to the next person that we have from. Oh, it's from Nisarg, I feel. Yep, it's from Nisarg. Nisarg has made two changes. As usual, Nisarg being putting up all the things. Nisarg MD and the normal read MD. That's an amazing one, Nisarg. Okay, is this an issue from my side? The branch has conflicts that must be resolved because I'm not able to merge a request. Hmm. Hmm. And use chat GPT for the paragraph. It's simple. Use the AI tools. As simple as that. He has made one commit that has been verified, two files changes. Hmm. The next one I guess we have from Sohil. Share this tab instead. Let me see if what are the issue. I don't know this is an issue from my side or GitHub, but yep. Sohil also did a file change in README. Hello, welcome to the stream. Added all the things which we have talked about. So this looks good. MLH Global Hack Week, GitHub for Hack. Made three different commits, updated the README multiple times. Yep, and it was good to go. The next thing, he didn't took pull. Oh, because you merged my repo, so other didn't take pull before pushing. Oh, I guess if that has to be done, I'll check up on this. But it's okay. The important thing was like people are adding it to it. The next thing is from, uh, I guess it's Rishabh Thakur or it's Ishab Thakur. He has added jokes. Yep, I just I need to see this. I hope I find a good joke in this. Oh, you should have added good jokes, bro. If you have made four different commits. Today's isn't a Git. Downloading Git. Welcome to the stream. Mention all the things. Jokes. Why did the developer go broke? Because he lost the domain in a hackathon. Oh, that's a deep tension one. Next is what did one code say to another during an hackathon? I feel so biteful. And the next thing is why did the programmer bring a ladder for the hackathon to reach the highest branches for the code? I might give an extra point to Ishav here for this. Okay. The next thing I wanted to see is from Shanice Williams. Uh, okay. So if I talk about the files changed, she's mentioned Shane's. Okay. Hello, my name is Shane's. Okay, mentioned the link on Twitch. I'm a database student science in London. This is my first time contributing to Repo. That wasn't my own. Happy hacking to you all. Okay, so I can do merge the pull request, confirm the merge. I guess I get to know the error now, what was happening on my side. I think everyone has changed the readme, so I think it's providing conflict as the first one have made changes to readme, and we haven't pushed update readme. We worked with the yep. I guess the same thing that David wanted to say. Yep, that was a good one. I did the files. Yep, you can do different changes as well. I did ask you to ask for the commit one, but yep, this thing could have also happened. Let me check. Ishab has added another thing. Okay, now I'll be able to just a second. I think I'm still facing that issue. Checking for okay. I feel these things might be done. Done. Ishab Thakur added a GIF. You have added a GIF. Just a second. Let me refresh. Yep, I can merge a pull request. Let me check on the GIF. File changed one. Hmm, 5 commits. I guess this committed to the main branch. Yep, I'm able to see. I'm not able to see the GIF. Let me check. But yep, now I'm able to add people for uh, merge pull request. Okay, things looks good. Did you get my commit? What was the name of your commit file, Anyud? Then let me just know that. Shikha has closed. It's okay. Shins has updated the push commit, which I was able to merge. And then just let me know the file name. There is certain issues with my laptop as well today. I don't know why. Okay, but anyways, the main intention which I wanted, I guess many of the people you were already comfortable, and even if a certain person is able to like feel good, like get to know more about how you can fork, and I have actually pulled up three pers like request into my code. That's a good thing. Someone added readmes. Oh, now got I got the GIF. I guess that was added by MeanSphere. Amazing. That's good. So now I wanted to ask the people who have committed. Okay, let me check it, David. Just a minute. It's changed. Yep, I did check it on that. Did you have made any more changes? I have merged your PR in my uh like repository. Yep. Okay. So how are we gonna select like who is the person who is getting the swag drop? Let me work on the thing I'm always working. Select random. Okay. I'm just going to check all the people who have made. I'm very happy. Let me show you the final result. I can share this tab. Yep. I guess you have updated it. I'll be merging all the pull requests. I am getting all the more requests, but I'll just wait for people who have worked on this. Okay, let me work on the giveaway winner. Mhm. Okay, all the people who were Rishabh was a part of this. If Nisarg win this giveaway, no, he'll just get another swag drop from us. Okay, Anirudhan has. I just got you now. Like your files changed. First time working with Git. Commits are one. Yep, I got your conflicting files. Now I know. I guess Nisarg said the same. These are basically the conflicting files, which is making things difficult for me to merge. Yep, screen is static. And I'll just pick up the winner. Sohail was a part two. Who else has put it up? Just let me check. We did get another submission from files changed. Oh, he has made a new thing. So if I merge this, confirm merge. Yep, another thing added. Oh, someone has added a global hack week GIF. Project GitHub for hack how to you effectively use GitHub with Khushi from MLH. Oh, Khushi's in the stream. She has made a change to this. Okay. Okay, now it will be too super difficult to pick a winner now. Nisarg, Sohil, Devit, and okay. Let's select one. Okay. So the giveaway winner for yep. Thanks, Nisarg, and thanks, Anit. Then it feels good. That's great. You'll be able to do anything. Yep. Okay. So our winner for today's giveaway will be yep, David, I did check your PR. Let me just share my screen once again. Share this tab instead. This one, no? David, I hope you haven't made more changes to this. I did check it. I guess this is even merged. This is even merged. Just a second. Okay. So yep, so here also data change we were able to merge. I guess there is an issue. Okay, you have added changes to same. I'll check on that, but before that I need to give you folks certain time before the next stream. Thanks for all the people who have been joining, but it's time to announce the giveaway winner. So I'm just gonna write it here in the chat. Okay. Congratulations, David, for winning a swag drop from our side. I just took out all the names and I've put it in the random name list to get, and it was you. Make sure you can just take a screenshot of this with your name, and you can generate a ticket on Discord mentioning the stream name, and just mention that you created a README file, and yep, the team will take care of it next. Congratulations for a swag drop, and yep, thank you so much, folks, for hopping in. It's been a good stream. I've not been super good on health this that's why I could have been a bit low on like speaking at this stream, but thanks, and thank you everyone for hopping in, and congratulations, David, winning for once again winning the swag drop. Just let me okay, yes, he have made any changes, let me check. It's not showing changes on my end actually. That is the thing. Otherwise, I would have directly mentioned you if there would have been any change. Even in the final one, if I show you the final, this is this is how you folks have made it, and I love it. Thanks, Tintin. Yep, and okay. I'm just going to check all the different Git commits and the repositories you have made. But yep, thank you so much, folks, for hopping in. If I would have been wrong at any point of time, I'm super sorry for that. If my energy would have been low at a certain point, super sorry for that. But I'll try to put up and get good streams again and again for you folks in the coming time. We'll be connecting. You can always connect me on all the socials: LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. And yep, for now, yep, I saw your GIF, Minesweeper. I saw your GIF. I saw your GIF. Thank you so much for connecting in. I'll be giving you time, folks, to wait, like get ready for the next session, and we'll connect over soon. Thanks, everyone. Have a good time. Bye bye.